What? Why are you shaking your head? You're welcome.
Welcome back for another Tuesday night, a phenomenal Tuesday night where just news happens for us at the perfect times. We have some things to get to tonight. We are going to try to be efficient, maybe the most efficient this podcast has ever been in terms of time. Jacob and I are both out the door bright and early, 3:30, 4 o'clock in the morning tomorrow morning, and we'd like to not miss the wake-up call. We will have Jacob explain the Twitter interaction. We have the Kyren news. We have some Travis Hunter stuff. But before we get into that, we felt after the comment section last week that we have to remind everybody that we have fun here. So the overlays are going to be very simple. We have fun here. We want you to have fun here. At the end of the day, we want to entertain and be entertained as well by you. So remember to hit like and subscribe. And you too can leave truly hilarious comments that we're going to get into right now on this week's Dynasty Points comment review. And boy, were you guys firing this week. I must say, to a point that I'm impressed. I'm not upset, and I'm not even mad about it. I'm actually impressed. Let's get to the first one. Bobble says, I personally welcome Tom's heel turn. While Ryan took advantage of Jacob's absence to show off the squirt guns with less fear, and Lucas juiced his WPS, words per stream metrics, Tom spent half his time shadowboxing the ghost of Jacob. No difference in complexion. Truly one of history's greatest illiterates.
Wow.
That's one of my favorite comments.
It's just a roast across the board right there.
Yeah, he took it right out of my playbook.
We got illiterate, mute, pale, and weak.
Yeah, that was really well done. Very well done. Big Diaz Energy said Najee looked like he's been on a Vegas bender in the World Series of Poker tournament, all in pre-flop. After the one-eye Najee in a hoodie comment.
Yeah.
Hard to go wrong with that one. That was a really great comment. Had to get that in there. And of course, Jacob Calloway, 5260. Tom consistently argues like he has CTE. He struggles to follow the logic. The intellectual gap between him and the others is noticeably large. It was entertaining at first, but now it's lowering the quality of the product. And I thought about this comment. Night and day for a while. First off, shout out to you for identifying the fact that I do have early signs of CTE thanks to my pro wrestling career. That is right on the nose for someone who may not have been in the know. But look, to this I will say, I started this program 5 years ago, and it has led me to a dream job. If anyone is going to bring down this program's IQ level, it'll be me. I get to do that. However, if you prefer that I peacock in a more grandiose fashion, spinning continuous tall tales and parables, padding my vernacular just to sound more verbose for you, I can do that. And I can be like every other pompous podcaster in this industry, citing words and stats, never getting a point across. I choose, however, to be a man of the people. Okay, and I will continue to do that. We don't need 4 nerds on this program. The nerds outnumber the normies on this program. So I will take my CTE and I will lock in for another 5 for 5 because this dumbass is going out the 5 for 5 season in grandiose fashion. All that
is true. That is true. If Tom has CTE, that is pretty concerning about my intellect level when it comes to 5 for 5. I will say, I probably shouldn't have been laughing at that comment or anything that came before this because honestly, it's a massive cell phone.
See, the great thing about this show is you get an authentic Thomas Tipple monologue, where if you go to other programs, you're going to get a hallucinated ChatGPT monologue that somebody is reading from a script for you. This is 100% Tipple right here.
That's right.
And it is wonderful.
Not scripted. We do it live. All right? We do it real. It's real here, and we do it for you guys. That being said, also shout out Teddy Salad noticed that Tipple's face isn't fat anymore. Interesting way to say that I've lost weight, but I appreciate it. That's very on par.
I prefer you look good, dude.
Yeah, that's good, but not fat anymore is right there. Not as good as my wife's. You're not poor skinny now. So that was like, that was nice. That was a nice bit of how do you do from the wife, who is meaner than anyone that could comment, by the way. But we love that. Sharpen iron with iron. Right. Comment section out of the way, which I have gotten DMs about that. Yeah, I know the mic thing does something once every show now for some reason.
You've gone underwater here. You've taken a deep dive into a submarine.
2 minutes it does this. Don't know why. We got the news. Ryan, kick us off with what you wanted to talk about with Hunter.
Yeah, so I think we just need to talk about Travis Hunter. I'll just take any excuse to talk about Travis Hunter today. And that's because basically Liam Cohn went on the Rich Eisen show yesterday and said basically everything that Jacob's been saying the entire offseason, and everything that I've been saying for the last month, which is pretty much that I'll be fair. Now, this was structured as a hypothetical. Cohn said, well, if Travis Hunter plays 80% of offensive snaps, then, we'll try to, we hope he can get up to that to match that on defense. Haha. Which pretty much gives away the entire game. Like, I don't really care about the percentage that he threw out, that like 80% of snaps would be extremely high for any offensive player. But yeah, just the idea that he first goes to offense and then the defense is conditional on that is pretty much everything we've been saying and everything we've been hoping for. So yeah, I don't know. I hate doing the preseason victory laps. I know Jacob has been avoiding it just by saying it's very, very interesting. Every time we get a Travis Hunter update, it is indeed very, very interesting. But yeah, I just wanted to make sure we bookmarked this. Yeah, if you've been out on Travis Hunter for whatever reason, if you're I don't know, if you're Scott Barrett or something, it's time to adjust, buddy.
Barrett in shambles. We're putting him in the locker,
dodging our calls.
He's been What have you talked to him yet today?
I talked to him.
Oh yeah, this was the first thing that I sent to Scott today. I was like, Scott, look at this.
What did he say?
Like,
what did he say?
I was right. And he's like, oh shit, I'm gonna drive to Louisiana and put in my 300-1 Travis Hunter MVP bet this weekend. Was his response. So I think we got him.
Yeah. Later in that episode, if you happen to watch like the full clip beyond just what was shared from CSI, Liam Cohn specifically referenced that he expects that Travis Hunter could win offensive and defensive rookie of the year in 2025. He went on about, kind of this. It started off with the similar things that he said before about how, he had played more defense, seen more development on offense, but then went into great detail about all of the ways that he's shown himself to develop as a wide receiver, about his unteachable and natural ball skills. It's pretty much what you want to hear. The two key takeaways, similar to what Ryan said to me, is one is, even just throwing the 80% number out there and saying, well, we'll try to come out up to 80. The goal is to have him essentially be a full-time player both ways. That much is clear. And then the most important thing to me is they said, well, let's assume he's at 80% offense. We'll try to get him to 80% defense. So the offense seemingly coming a little bit first. Things are good. If you could give me an 80% snap rate for Travis Hunter, I mean, obviously I would sign on the dotted line for that any day of the week. Pretty exciting stuff. I think secures somewhat of the floor, at least for year one. If you're a dynasty investor, makes him a very, very interesting pick in redraft. And I agree. I agree with Scott that you should be getting your 300-1 Travis Hunter MVP bets in.
So I got to go check that ticket right now. I don't even know what odds I got 2 months ago. Now I gotta flex that.
So I don't want to speak this into existence, but how would you feel if the worst case scenario for Travis Hunter this year is like a Jaden Reed type usage?
Well, if it's Jaden Reed type usage, like I saw someone reply to one of my tweets of this, who's just one of the many people coping with the reality of fading the greatest football player in history of the sport. But I don't like care if he ever plays a 12 personnel snap in a Liam Cohen offense. They barely have any 12 personnel snaps on passing downs. Like if you look at the Bucs last year, Jalen McMillan was essentially a full-time player as playing only in the slot. And if you look historically at where Liam Cohen came from, it's the Rams tree. And that's essentially a full-time 11 personnel offense. So I don't really care that much about if he only plays in 11. We want the slot player in the Liam Cohen offense. If he could play F in 11 and Z in 12, that would be awesome. But like, I don't really expect it. I don't really care either, is basically where I stand. I think he's a lot better than Jaden Reed. And I think most importantly, the Jaguars will play way faster and throw way more than the Green Bay Packers. So I'm much more content with an 11 personnel only wide receiver in the Jaguars offense.
Yeah, I would mostly echo that. And I would also add that Chris Godwin last year, if you just counted his slot routes, that would have been effectively a 52% route share. He averaged over 14 fantasy points per game just on that, just on a 50% route share only out of the slot. That is the power of Liam Cohen's slot role. He made it. I realized this recently. He had to make us care about Wan'Dale Robinson at Kentucky, right? That was Liam Cohen. Am I wrong? But yeah,
you are right. I think you're right.
Yeah, literally made us have to care about Wan'Dale Robinson. So it's hard to go wrong here.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I'm distracted a little bit, but I agree with everything that you guys just said. I don't think Sean realizes how on the nose this is with today's episode. Said people are ridiculous. Tell them to try commenting when not in their basement. Revisits the place where he was when this podcast started, which just so happens to be his parents' basement. So I saw that pop up and I had to have a laugh. That was just a phenomenally timed comment. But I agree. Let's move on to something I wanted to talk about, which is the Kyren Williams extension. It is, judging by the numbers, a fake 3-year. It's a 2-year. But I just want to finally put to bed the, like, your favorite 6th, 7th round running back taking Kyren's job narrative for 2 years. We can just put that away. Blake Corum, Hunter. I don't have to hear about it anymore. I predicted something like the James Conner contract a couple of weeks ago on the Dynasty Points Market Report when I called Kyren one of the best buy low workhorse style running backs that you could acquire, because I have believed this extension was coming pretty much all off season. We talked about it way back when they drafted Hunter and everyone was really excited about it. And then Sean McVay talked at the podium at the end of the, just for no reason, unprompted, about Kyren Williams. He just loves this guy, regardless of how often he puts the ball on the ground. I will maintain that Kyren is a buy. He has been a buy. If you want to sell after getting news like this, you are rich as hell at running back. I think we should just be enjoying this. Not every running back needs to run a 4.3 40, right, and catch 95 passes. Volume wins championships with running backs, and Kyren is that guy. The only thing we have to pray for now is the GOAT Matthew Stafford is there so the offense doesn't die, because Garoppolo is, well, let's just say it's not going to be as good. But I love this. I love this for him. He's been one of my biggest buys all off season. I'm going to continue to be doing so, but I would like to hear the opinions of everyone else here.
I don't know. You can't get me excited about Kyren Williams. This was expected. You were completely right. I'll give you your flowers, Tom. You were right. He signed a big extension that was meaningful. It keeps him like where he is in kind of like the glut of rounds 4 through 6 dynasty running backs, probably for at least another year or two. And yeah, if you could get him cheaper than that or at the bottom end of that, that was a good buy. But yeah, I don't know. I still largely expect Kyren to be in mostly a workhorse role this year. I think he's just kind of, I don't know. I'm bored of Kyren. I'm bored of talking about him. I'm
not surprised he got the contract. Like the Rams have said they want to extend him. And like, I mean, this shows off my opinion of Kyren Williams, but like I just don't think any other team was ever going to give him that kind of contract. So it's basically as soon as the Rams came out publicly and were like, we are trying to extend Kyren Williams, felt like the logical result would be they would extend Kyren Williams. I still think he sucks.
He doesn't.
And I don't think like the Rams are going to give him the touches. Anyway, my issue is like the way he plays and the way that their offense works, he needs like all of the touches. So like as long as he continues to get these like insane workloads, he's going to be great. I maintain that turns into a 65% workload, and the fact that he never has any explosive runs and never catches any passes and is generally bad at the game will be a problem, but whatever. The Rams disagree with me.
I think people just being bored of him because he's not Christian McCaffrey is exactly why I like him, because those are the type of players that get dismissed by you snob-nosed spreadsheet virgins.
I need to be Christian McCaffrey. There's like a lot of slow running backs that I like and are good. James Conner's good.
I mean, this is a guy who's been a top 8 running back in PPR.
Yeah, he's good for fantasy.
That's all I care about. I don't need him to be exciting and flashy. This dude can get 18 carries for 51 yards, but if Sean McVay is just going to line him up at the goal line no matter what, playing against Kyren Williams, it's like death taxes and he's scoring somehow. Like it's just inevitable with how this offense works, and that's all I care about. Like, yes, he doesn't catch as many passes, but he caught 34 and 32 in the last 2 years, and that's enough. Like, that's enough for me. We've wanted Jonathan Taylor to catch more passes a lot of his career, and he just hasn't. But, like, we're talking 18, 19, 28. Yes, Jonathan Taylor has more explosive runs, and he's more fun to watch. And look at Ken Walker. He's, like, way more fun to watch because he dances at the line, makes an 8-yard makes a 3-yard play look like it's 14 yards. That's super dope when he hits that one home run. But for pure productivity in a fantasy season, it's Kyren over guys like Walker. Like he is to me the best of that sub tier of running backs that we fantasize about. And you can get him as your RB1 still way later than I think you should, just simply because of the players that go ahead of him. I think he is a slept on player that dynasty managers can still acquire fairly cheap to be your team's RB2 on an absolute tank for 2 years. I am scared every time I look at my lineup and I see someone having Kyren Williams because I know there's at least 15 to 18 points coming usually.
Yeah,
and
that's really all scare me. I just sit there and I just absorb the 0.3 at a time on repeat, and I don't
all
really
you
mind.
need. That's all you need.
It's my pleasure to see Kyren in someone else's lineup.
All right, so let me just ask you this, Tom.
Yeah.
Would you rather have Kyren Williams or Chase Brown? With not factoring in cost, just straight up Kyren Williams, Chase Brown.
Not factoring cost at all, Chase Brown.
Okay. Chase Brown is going around later. Kyren Williams or James Cook?
Definitely James.
Kyren. I'll take Kyren. You want to talk about a touchdown merchant? This dude scores 6.
I mean, if we want to talk about like if we're gonna go like on and on about how much the Rams love Kyren Williams more than fantasy Twitter, I'll bet you like anything you want that James Cook has a higher contract AAY than Kyren's once his comes out.
Sure. And then I will discuss those two running backs differently. I just like Chase Brown because I was so in on him in his rookie year, and it paid off. It's hard to shrug off that bias.
So I already know what you said about Kenneth Walker, Kyren Williams, RJ Harvey.
Kenneth Walker or RJ Harvey? I'll take RJ Harvey.
I think I said Kyren Williams or RJ Harvey.
And I don't have to care about cost?
Don't have to care about cost.
Kyren Williams.
Probably Kyren. I mean, I like Harvey way more as a player, but they're like the same age, aren't they? And Kyren already have the job.
I think Harvey's a year older, if I'm not mistaken. I think
Kyren's 25, right? I don't know. Where's Buck?
Kyren is 3 weeks away from being 25.
Okay, so he's a little bit older than
RJ Harvey.
Kyren or Josh Jacobs? I'll take Kyren over Josh Jacobs.
I'll take Jacobs.
Okay.
Yeah, so that's a cost battle for me, really. That they're the same player to me. Just Josh Jacobs does catch a few more passes, yeah. But if that offense ever does what everyone is dreaming of and starts throwing the ball more, talk about another guy that needs every carry. It just so happens that the only other running back on the roster is destined to live on IR. Shout out Marshawn Lloyd.
Okay, then just based off of ADP, if you're just going with Chase Brown, and for sake of wrapping this up, it's mainly because of priors here, not really anything else. You are taking Kyren Williams straight up over people going after him. So I guess he's not priced too bad, but no. I'm just looking at it, and
he's appropriately priced.
I think I would just rather have some of these round 5 backs than Kyren, but I don't think it's a bad price. He's somebody that I
want to acquire via trade, not via draft.
Yeah, I haven't looked at what he's going for in trades.
He's less expensive in drafts. Like, we have people in the Fantasy Points Discord, which you can get in the link below. All you need is a free account. For like a 26-1 and a snack. So
I'm not giving a 1 for Kyren Williams or any of the running backs that you discussed.
Yeah. At that, like, in your leagues, you said you can get like a Josh Jacobs for a second and a snack, and that's just not a real league that the normies play in. But you're like, I could get any Josh Jacobs type player. Anywhere I look, I can just snatch up a Josh Jacobs.
I can get I bet I could get an Aaron Jones. I bet I could get a Jordan Mason. Doesn't matter. I'm starting Ja'Cory Krosky-Merritt as my RB1.
Yeah.
There we go. We go.
We're not allowed to talk about him on this show anymore.
Anymore? We talked about him once when I've been there. I guess you guys maybe you talked about him last week.
Yeah, that's what you missed, Jacob. Yeah,
20 minutes.
Yelled at each other for 20 minutes.
Who is right? Who is right?
I think we're sticking with our priors.
Well, the chat said Tom had CTE at the end of this argument. So
I don't know where people landed. Who's pro Ja'Cory Krosky-Merritt?
The comment section live agreed with me. The comment section live agreed with me. The comment section after called me an idiot. So,
but what's the anti-case? You have a player who was literally free, who might. It
wasn't even an argument about the player.
It was really, do we care about him getting first team reps? And Ryan and I said absolutely, and Thomas said no.
I care.
I care too. But Tom was basically like, well, I don't care because I already thought he was good, so I already thought he would get first team reps. And I started screaming about Trevion Henderson working with the third team last week.
And then 2 days later,
and he's sick now, by the way. Crazy how that works.
He gets first team reps 2 days later, and nobody cares. They only cared because of the priors of the player. That's it.
All right, we're not going to hit our 90-minute target with this.
We're not right now. And I'm not going on about.
I did not know that I was touching on a sore spot. I just thought I was coming up with a random run.
Fan topics.
Oh, I thought you were coming in like knowing full and well what you were doing here.
I haven't listened to a podcast since Tuesday night. I've been with human beings.
We settled on a list, Ryan and I, that we are going to create about players that you can no longer speak of rationally, and he is in the S tier of players you cannot speak of rationally because he's God tier already. Anyway, not getting in the JCM anymore. What we are going to do is take our first break. I had it written down 10 minutes. Whew! We're not making that mark, but don't go anywhere. Break coming up.
45 seconds? Nah, that. This ad is over after I say fantasypoints.com.
So we have something a little bit different today. Jacob has put together a fun tip. 2026. Jacob has told us.
I'll take over explaining the game because Tom has once again gone into a submarine. And his mic is underwater. All right, here is the game format, or it's not a game, but I asked everybody to rank their top 12, or to rank the players that they think are most likely to be in the top 12 of 2026 startup ADP. A year from now. So August of 2026, who is most likely to be in the top 12 of Superflex Dynasty startups? The catch, you cannot pick anybody that is currently in the top 12. of 2026 Superflex Dynasty startups. Here's how we're going to reveal our cumulative list. Everybody submitted a 1 through 12 list at some point today. I averaged them all out, and I ordered it so that once we got through all the players that were on everybody's list, we would go to players that were on 3 people's list down to 2 people's list. I can say that there were 8 players who were on all 4 lists. There were 2 who were on 3 and 2 who were on 2. So every player that got on at least 2 lists got into our final top 12. And then there were 5 players that made it on just 1 list. All right. We're going to start at 1. We're going to go down. And I'm going to say who was highest on each player and who was lowest on each player. And we'll allow them to sort of discuss as we move from player to player. First player, or actually I'll first ask, I'll say my process for this list, and I don't know how others differed. I tended to skew particularly young and particularly high variance because I was taking the approach of not just sort of who do I think will be the highest 12 players, but who do I think really has the best odds of being in the first round of Dynasty startups. And so that meant for certain players that have been really good for a reasonable amount of time, but are currently going in round 2 or round 3, I looked at them and was like, well, what more could you kind of do than what you've already done? If you're already not going in the first round, I'm not going to put you on my list. So that's maybe why I excluded a couple guys that might seem obvious. But I'm curious how other people thought through it and put together their list before we get in the first player.
Yeah, I mean, I was kind of similar to Jacob here. Like my guiding thought was that there are like 8 players that are currently going in the top 12 that I think are like 70 to 80% likely to do so again next year. So you really, really have to kind of shoot for the moon here. And I guess I was also trying not to like just think about, oh, do I think this player is going to have an amazing season? Like, what is my individual take on the player? But archetype wise, is this player young enough that if they have the top 3 season, could they be going in round 1 of startups? So yeah, these aren't necessarily like player takes to be taken seriously for this season for me.
I just looked at it kind of as if it's basically how I script the second round is how I looked at it. What will the second round of a startup be like next year to me? And that's kind of where I got to without being able to like add or subtract the first round this year, right? Which was the hard part. What do I think round 2 would look like if those guys all stayed top 12? This is how I looked at it. Real simple. Nothing too complex to follow, what the comments think of my intellect.
So the way I was looking at who has the best opportunity to move up into the first round next year, regardless of age or production. Now, production obviously like plays a part in it, and so I did like give a little bit of weight to people who have finished as a number 1 overall at their position, as potentially they could do it again. I think that there's one player as we're going into this that I'm not going to have a good defense on for where I have them ranked, especially because Ryan has a fantastic argument for where he has this particular player ranked. But a lot of the rest of it, I was trying to give weights to who do I think could potentially wind up as number 1 at their position. And as we went further down, I was looking at who do I think maybe not in 2026, but potentially 2027 or 2028, who might be first round pick in one of those years. And that's how I was kind of doing tiebreakers as we got towards the end. But it got pretty dicey there, looking at picks 10 through 12 there.
All right. We will get to honorable mentions at the end of the list because I don't want to spoil some of the players who you might think are on the list that just missed off the top. So without further ado, our number 1 player, and he was, I think, the number 1 player. We all had a different number 1 player. So it was the number 1 player on Ryan's board. The number 1 on our consensus board is Brian Thomas Jr. Ryan, you make the case. I will note that Tom was the lowest on Brian Thomas Jr. Not that low. He had him as his number 4 player.
Yeah, so I mean, everything we were just talking about with Travis Hunter in the slot with Liam Cohn, Cohn is on record saying that he wants to mix Brian Thomas Jr. in there as well. Wants to get him kind of all the deep vertical stuff as well as all the slants, all the screens. It sounds like they just want to use him absolutely everywhere. He's going to be completely sick if BTJ doesn't get 12 targets a game is pretty much what it sounds like. So yeah, I mean, my BTJ love and my Travis Hunter love don't have to be mutually exclusive of each other. So yeah, that's kind of just what it is. I think if BTJ finishes top 3, top 4 among receivers this year, he's a really good bet to be going in round 1 next year. I'd say like actually by far the most likely player who's not currently to be going next year, in my opinion.
Perfectly agree. I think the thing that's keeping him from being a 2025 first round pick is just the change in situation. And I think managers are kind of holding back just a smidgen until they get confirmation that he's good past his rookie year in a new offense.
I played this simply by, if Travis Hunter smashes, people are going to be like, Brian Thomas Jr.'s upside's capped. And with it being a super flex tight end premium scenario, I just went by, see right there, Teddy Salad. What if Hunter is the alpha? Right there. We're already, you just, as I was saying it, commented it. I think that's going to be the general feeling. So, which is why I think it would knock him down the ADP. That's how I played it.
Fair enough. I had him at 3. Lucas had him at 2. Then our next player on our list is the player that I had at number 1. He could have finished number 1, except Lucas had him all the way down at number 8, which really anchored his ADP. My number 1, in a lack of surprise to anyone, although I'm just disappointed that Ryan Heath didn't have my back on this. Of course, it is Drake Maye. And my view on this was just there aren't that many wide receiver slots or running back slots in the top 12 each year. But most of the time, about half or more of the top 12 in Superflex startups is dominated by quarterbacks. So from a math perspective, I'm looking at it. I'm like, if you're going to get in, the easiest path to the party is as a quarterback, in particular as a mobile quarterback. Obviously, there's a lot of downside for Drake Maye. But if he has the season that I think he can have, that I kind of expect him to have, where he runs for 500, 600 yards, he throws for over 4,000 yards, he throws for 25 to 30 touchdowns, the Patriots make the playoffs as a wild card, you're getting a lot of really positive vibes around May and the team and around even potential next steps and improvements. I think it's going to be very hard to keep Drake Maye out. You also have the advantage of, let's just be honest, there are a lot of Drake Maye people in the content game. I'm one of them. Ryan's one of them. But we exist, and we are many. So there is no shortage of positive momentum that can sort of create that helium boost if Drake Maye delivers this year to get him those extra couple of spots of ADP that he needs. There's another quarterback who didn't actually make any of our lists that I thought about strongly, and I'm surprised he didn't make any of our lists for similar reasons to Drake Maye. But yeah, I think that he is a guy who the path to him being in the top 12 for me is very easy to see. Even if compared to some of the other names at the top of the list, he probably has a much better chance of being like a round 6 pick.
Yep. Yeah, I didn't have him up there because I don't have another quarterback ahead of him. I thought I did. I've said all my pieces about Drake Maye. I think that offense stinks, and he has to be 2018 Lamar, which I don't see coming. So,
I mean, you do still have him as number 2 on your list.
You bent the knee as far as I'm concerned. Lucas, you were the hater on Drake
because
Maye.
He's a quarterback. That's it. He's the youngest, and quarterback on the list I could have probably picked. And there's enough Jacobs on the internet that I see constantly drinking Drake Maye Kool-Aid that it's a pretty easy decision there.
You might have just flipped me, Jacob, just on the point of there are so many of us Drake Maye people that he's obviously going to be going in round 1 of startups next year if he has anywhere.
To me, it's just like Drake. You do your job and we'll do our job. You do
Lawrence.
So the way I
do what you need to do, and we'll handle the rest.
The way I looked at it was I really did penalize quarterbacks because of how many are currently in the first round. And I was just trying to think through, do I think Drake Maye can usurp any of these players in front of him significant enough in order to get into the first round? And he has to have a complete outlier of a season where he's just fantastic in a terrible Patriots offense where they didn't go out and get him any elite weapons. And so we're really counting on organic growth and just coordinators being competent to really like hit his ceiling. And I think that's tough. If we were going into the season, or if we could look through a crystal ball and we know that the Patriots are signing just a monster next offseason, or they're going to have a high draft pick and they're going to get, I mean, there's not even any wide receivers that I can think of in 2026 that would get us this excited. But I think that he needs some type of inject into that system to really skyrocket up boards in order for people to feel like he can reach the ceiling that you have to hit as a first-round quarterback. He's still my top-rated quarterback in this exercise, but that's why he's lower.
SMH. All right. The next player was also the player that I had ranked the highest among us. Did not hit number 1 on any of our lists. I had him at number 2. This player was number 5 on Tom's list. He's number 3 on Ryan's list and 4 on Lucas's list. So a consensus pick. Ashton Jeanty came in at number 3 on our list. Maybe surprising that he didn't come in at number 1 on our list, frankly, given that he was just one of the most obvious number 1s in rookie drafts. To me, it's just sort of, I think Bijan is now going into year 4. Gibbs is going into year 4. Jeanty's going into his rookie season. If he has the type of dominant rookie season that we've seen out of other top 10 running backs, think Ezekiel Elliott, rookie season, Saquon Barkley, rookie season. If he's on that level of guy, then it's just like a no-brainer. He's going to be the RB1 in startups because the years matter more at that position than anywhere else. If he is within a few points either way of Bijan and Gibbs, I think he absolutely surpasses them going into next year's version of startups. And we're not going to have startups next year without any running backs in the first round. So I think he is about as easy of a pick as can be. Probably would have been my actual number 1, but I kind of wanted to do Drake Maye for the bit. But other people had him lower. I forget who had him lowest. Was it Tom? Yeah, Tom had him down at 5.
So I'll say this, right? Bijan going into year 3. Bijan going into year 2 at this time last year from July 1st to August 31st was the 201. So not even Bijan into his second year was going in the first round.
Yeah, but he had a shitty rookie year, right? Like,
look, we're
he was a better prospect.
There is a chance, not a high chance, that Jeanty does not.
Devon a chance?
I thought that was coming. Yeah.
Wow. There is
Speaking of guys I almost ranked for the bit. Yeah.
I have to look at it like there is a chance that maybe he doesn't just like have 2,400 total yards and 39 total touchdowns as people are expecting. Anything can happen. A stub toe and hamstring for 4 weeks, and the dynasty community in general just hates running backs. So it's just tough to get there. It's been a while. Last year, this time, there were no running backs taken in the first round.
Is that actually true?
Yes.
Wow.
It was Gibbs was RB4, Hall RB3, McCaffrey RB2, and Bijan RB1 at 201, 203, 205. And I can't count, but I think that's 208. So at this time last year, there was no running backs in the first round. So it's tough to get them there. Now we have 3, I think, because we have some really dope running backs. So yes, I can see it. It's not like I ranked them super low.
No.
I was just the lowest. I just see receivers and quarterbacks as more spot on. There's 2 running backs going right now from July to today's date, and it's Bijan and Gibbs. So, I mean, Jeanty's already right there. So you're right that people are going to think that way, but just the way the dynasty community fake hates running backs, I can see it. That's why he's 5 for me.
All right, Tom has been playing the role of hater, but now we get to the first player that he was the highest on. It was his number 3 player. He clocks it at number 4 overall. And I ranked him at number 4 on my list. I think I ranked him too high the more I've thought about this. But Justin Herbert comes in number 4 overall. at a time, I think for at least 2 seasons, was a fixture in the Dynasty top 12, has fallen out of that. Can he do the impossible, which is to catapult himself back into the Dynasty top 12 from whence he came? Tom, why is it possible?
Well, so last year, as everyone remembers, I warned everyone about Justin Herbert and his production and how it would dip with the new coaches because it's fucking Greg Roman. I'm sorry, I'd like to think of myself as somewhat of an expert on the topic. And it kind of happened. However, when we're doing in-season startups and even early to this year, Herbert was becoming a second-round pick again already, just off of a handful of games when the running backs were hurt. So I can definitely see a scenario where someone like Hampton gets hurt and they're running out old one-eyed Willie onto the field and they go, oh, this isn't going to work. Now Keenan Allen signs and Justin Herbert scores 33 points a game again. I can definitely see it as a young quarterback that the greatest what-if man in football history vaults himself back in that scenario when you remove the other names that we weren't already allowed to use. So it's just a probability case for a player that already has a massive following.
I'm glad you called him If Man because I was going to cut in and say that if you didn't.
He's the greatest what-if man of all time.
Lucas, you were the lowest.
He's second best superhero next to Captain Hindsight. Is What If Man and Captain Hindsight.
Lucas, you were the lowest on Herbert, down at 9. I want to say Ryan was close to that. Ryan had him at 7. What were your guys' thoughts?
So I was looking at it. It's very similar to my Drake Maye argument. Is just there's so many quarterbacks that are going to round 1, and Justin Herbert's going to have to do something really awesome to get up there. I do think the fact that he was in round 1, and I think he was going, he was 101 at one point in time, coming off his rookie year and a strong second year. I don't know if he can overcome fantasy managers' priors from taking him that high and then not seeing that return on investment. So that's another reason why he's behind Drake Maye, because I was tempted to put him up there, but I think the hype of Maye will give Maye a better shot of sneaking into round 1 than Herbert.
Yeah, I mean, I ranked him because I think he's a good candidate for like the very efficient, like 6.5% touchdown season this year. But also kind of like Lucas is saying, I also think he's too boring now for people to take him in round 1 again. That's kind of unfortunately just how it works.
Yeah, that is fair. I do think, man, I still think that he would have had, I think his season last year is painted by, one, he started out with the plantar fasciitis and it started really slow and it got a lot better afterwards. He also started with basically nothing in their wide receiver core. They eventually found Ladd McConkey, and they really featured him at the end of the season. But he was starting off as a second-round rookie last year. And then he played like shit in the playoff game. So sort of all of the goodwill that Herbert had built up throughout most of the year, he squanders in that playoff game. I think that their team overall is going to be improved. Herbert is healthy. I have totally bought the Scott Barrett serum on the what if they just start running Justin Herbert a lot this season, because he's not even sneaky athletic. He's really, really athletic if they choose to deploy him that way. And I do think like one of these years, I just think he's too good to not have like an MVP season in real life where he has 40 touchdowns. Again, actually, I think he's done that before, and is like a top 2, top 3 vote getter for MVP. It's almost to me like, in the big 4 era in tennis, or the big 3 era in tennis, where it was like Federer, Nadal, and Djokovic, and it's like Herbert's not quite there, but like he's gonna have an Andy Roddick event one of these days where it's like he's going to take Federer to the 5th set in Wimbledon and lose, or maybe win the U.S. Open. I just think he'll find his way into the mix one of these years. Number 5 is probably the biggest split because he was incredibly number 1 on 2 of our lists and yet wound up in the number 5 slot because I had him down at number 7. Ryan had him down at number 9. So we had a true 2v2 war on this one. Lucas and Tom, your number 1 player, CeeDee Lamb.
Yeah, I had him ranked the highest at 1. I understand Ryan's argument. He's going to give it. It's a really good argument. He's just dope, man. And he's I'm not buying the George Pickens is going to limit his upside juice. I'm not buying that. He's good, but like it's CeeDee Lamb here. And I just think if he has a shot to be the wide receiver 1 on the year. He really does, because he does every year. And I just think that him being elite is just going to carry him. Yes, it would be an outlier. I think he's going to smash this year. He's like probably the cheapest elite wide receiver that you can actually buy right now. I'm still in, and I think I'm going to be still way in next year because, I mean, it's 27. Like, he's not old at all, and he's just awesome. So, and the offense isn't changing.
Yeah, that's why I have him as 1, too. He was the player, as I was looking through this, who I felt like if I had to put money on who's going to finish number 1 at their position, out of any of the players that we are choosing from, I would put money on CeeDee Lamb. He can have that kind of season. And with that, I don't think he'll be wide receiver 1 whenever we're doing, these startups next year, but I do think that kind of season can put him in round 1 conversation. And I put him at the top 2 because I think that there's more room for another wide receiver in the first round versus any other position. I think, we can do more quarterbacks there, but we saw the years whenever we were running 9 or 10 quarterbacks in the first round of these Superflex startups. I think that those are done, and I don't know. I think another wide receiver can sneak in.
Yeah, so my biggest reason for ranking Lamb down at number 9 is pretty simple, and it's just that at least going as far back as Dynasty Data Labs ADP goes, we have never actually seen a wide receiver at 27 years old be in round 1 of startups. Lamb will be 27 next offseason. Spoilers, but this is also why I have Nico Collins ranked relatively low, despite thinking that both of them are going to totally smash this year. Like, Lamb is very easily a top 3 wide receiver for me. Nico is not that far behind. Like, I redraft take wise, I think they're both going to score a million fantasy points. But yeah, I just think that it's not sexy. It's not exciting enough for it to be that likely for them to get into round 1 of Dynasty startups. It's just kind of how it works. We do the off-season brain reset every single year, and it's never kind to these guys that are a year away from being 2 years away from being washed.
Yeah, I think it's just, you look at AJ Brown is currently 28. Lamb will be a year younger than him. AJ Brown's fallen all the way to the back of the 3rd now at this point, coming off of not his best year, but like not a bad year by any stretch. I agree with you guys that CeeDee Lamb can be the wide receiver 1 overall. I have him right now as my wide receiver 2 in my redraft rankings. I have him as my 104 in seasonal leagues. Like Ryan mentioned, I didn't even have Nico Collins on my list, and I have Nico as the 107 in redraft leagues as my wide receiver 4. I could not be more in on these guys, but I agree. I think that they basically have to finish as the wide receiver 1 overall to get in, because otherwise I think you're just fending off whoever the big hits are from the 25 class. You have the quarterbacks that aren't leaving. You're still probably going to have Jefferson and Chase ahead of you unless one of them has a bad year or takes a serious injury. And then you're just in a challenge where at 27 years old, you kind of almost need everybody else to fail around you to be able to sneak in that default position. If this was who is the most likely to remain in the top 2 rounds of startups, I probably would have had Lamb pretty high up on my list. But to get back in the top 12 going into your age 27 season, I think it's going to be really difficult, which is why I had Lamb there. I will note he currently is the 201, so he is the highest current rank. We will get into 6 through 12 right after this break.
45 seconds? Nah, f*** that. This ad is over after I say fantasypoints.com.
All right. Let's get into 6.
All right. We got another wide receiver on the list. This one, Lucas. I think it's the first one that Lucas was the highest on. Lucas had him as number 3. He was Ryan's number 8 player. He was Tom's number 6 player. He was my number 5 player. It is Puka Nacua.
Yeah, this one, I'm making a bet that we see a healthy Matthew Stafford this season. This all goes out the window if we're seeing Jimmy Garoppolo rolling out there. But I think the tear that Puka was on last year whenever he came back, and he was single-handedly putting people in the playoffs, putting people into championship games, like just absolutely dominating. If he can maintain 90% of that for the whole season, we're looking at somebody who can potentially finish as wide receiver 1. He doesn't have the same, coming off a rookie season vibes that Brian Thomas Jr. has, which is why I have him sitting at 3 instead of at 2. But I think that he's the person who, even though he's technically a vet at this point, but he still has a little bit more projection left. We've never really got to see a full season with him as a true wide receiver 1 for that Rams offense, or going into the season with him expecting to be that, being able to play for the full season. So I'm really excited to see like what the ceiling could be. I think that's what could potentially put him into the top 12. And if I had to go back and do it, I think I would end up having him over CeeDee Lamb to be number 2 for me, but I think at 3, I'm still pretty happy with that.
Yeah, so I had Puka the lowest, which is weird for me because I've been insanely high on Puka the entire offseason. But what and also I guess I'll just say this: I have moved him back, or when mine and Scott's collaborative rankings come out tomorrow in his draft plan. He will be at the 106 unless Scott moved him again without telling me. But he's at the 106 for me right now in redraft, as far as I'm concerned, which is still ahead of ADP on every platform I'm aware of. So I still like Puka, not like that worried about Stafford. But for this exercise specifically, I am worried about Matt Stafford going into next offseason. It really, of all the players we've discussed, the only receiver whose quarterback has like tangible retirement risk this offseason. And if that happens, then there's no way Puka goes in round 1 of startups. And I think he could have, I think it's very likely he has a season that would be deserving of it. I've taken Puka at the turn in startups this offseason. But yeah, I for this exercise specifically, I just don't think it works when you have the Matt Stafford question there.
Hallen already stepped on exactly the point I was going to make, which was, I agree with you. I had him at the 106 until the Stafford stuff started happening. I moved him down a little bit, but if we get a good Stafford news hit, he'll be right back to 106 for me in redraft. I do think that trade they made with the Falcons, the James Pierce trade, the Rams have 2 round 1 picks next year. One of them is Atlanta's, one of them is their own. It's going to be, I think, an interesting quarterback class where it doesn't seem like there is an obvious, let's just assume Arch Manning does not declare. Doesn't seem like there's an obvious slam dunk guy who everybody has penciled in a 101, but it does seem like there's a lot of interesting names. It would not surprise me if we see 4 to 5 guys go in the first round next year. I think the Rams are moving towards the post-Matthew Stafford era. They have the 2 1s. I think they'll be able to make use of those and get a rookie quarterback that people are excited about, to where they're feeling good about Sean McVay plus rookie quarterback. I can see the long view. Puka's locked in. That's what I'm hopeful on. Now, the question is, of course, who's that rookie quarterback? If that's a Cade Klubnik, if it's a Garrett Nussmeier, that's probably pretty interesting. If that's a guy who is going to make our honorable mentions list, probably not as good for Puka Nacua, probably a lot better for that specific rookie quarterback. So it'll be interesting to see in the offseason.
Yeah, I was about to say the same thing with those rookie picks. And I don't know, we have a long time before we start evaluating the 2026 class, but I do think that there's a lot of names there that you can still feel okay with Puka going in the first round next year. So,
all right, number 7. We're through the halfway point here. We have 2 players left that appeared on everybody else's list. This next one is Drake London. He was the highest on Ryan's and Lucas's list. They both had him at 5. And then this one fascinated me because the man who had him as his best pick of round 2 when we did that show about a month ago was the lowest. We had him down at number 11, and that was Tom. So, Lucas, you were the highest. Your thoughts on Mr. London?
So with Drake London, it's looking at players that I think can finish number one at their position. I think Drake London, there is a world this season where he can finish number one at his position. We see Michael Penix Jr. just hyper target him, which we did see a bit of whenever Penix was starting games at the end of last season. We see Penix improve some. We see a better touchdown rate out of London, and we're hitting all of these elite efficiency metrics that he was having over his first 2 seasons, turning into volume, turning into production for your team. And he's young enough that people are going to be excited about that. It was really tough doing this because I think that there's just such a depth of wide receivers over these first 2 rounds that you can really get excited about. And they're all end up competing with each other here. And that's just why he was so much further down on my list, which I'm still highest on him, which feels wrong and weird. But at 5, I mean, I have 3 wide receivers above him at that point. And it's still an exciting top 10 possibility to think about.
Tom, you used to name yourself David London. You also had him as your best pick in round 2. Why have you decided to turn on your brother Drake?
So me and Buck call him Little Points London because it's quite often in games where, he's just a player that seems to have like 18 points left on the field at times. I'm basing this just off of, yes, he was my favorite pick in round 2, but we're talking about 2026. So I'm looking at what might happen in 2025. What if Penix is ass? If Penix sucks, because he was a mocked meme player, and we've talked about how good that offense was and how bad the wide receivers have been. So maybe it was Penix, and Penix was great for London at the end of the year. And we have seen quarterbacks burst onto the scene at the end of the year, capture the hearts of everybody, and absolutely tank. And Penix is a lefty. So as a superstitious sports guy, if you've bet against lefty quarterbacks your whole life, you've been almost 100%, sans like 2. So this is a fun tidbit. I don't take that seriously. But if Penix is bad, which is a possibility, and Drake London doesn't put up the 19 plus points per game that his volume is just being based off of, because let's face it, deep ball Drake London, that's not really in the cards. That's Mooney's wheelhouse. That's the terrible number wearing Ray McLeod special teamers wheelhouse. I can just see a scenario also with Bijan maybe potentially absolutely blowing up. I can just see it not being as glorious for my boy Drake London as we want. Almost in a Garrett Wilson type fashion, where we always just kind of want more, and it pushes him down the board a little bit. Hopefully that makes sense.
I think I was in the middle on Drake London. I don't have anything to add, but I did want to bring up Tom's former professional wrestling name. The last player who got on all of our lists, Ryan had him the highest. He had him at 5, sorry, Drake London at 6. He had this player at 5, which was the highest rank of anybody. He appeared on everybody's list, but he was lowest on Lucas's, down at 11. This is Tetairoa, do not call him Tet, McMillan. Ryan, floor is yours.
Yeah, I'm going to call him Tet multiple times throughout this, so get over it, eat it, haters. To me, this is just kind of the format of what we're doing, which is the highest variance players are the rookies. The most likely position, I would say, of this year's crop of rookies. I would say unlikely we see a rookie quarterback get into the top 12. Jeanty is an obvious one at running back because he's so close, but other than that, kind of hard for like a non-totally consensus elite running back prospect to get in the top 12. So we're kind of left with Tet for me. I think Tet can have an incredible season in the Dave Canales X receiver role. Mike Evans, Deontay Johnson have combined for top 12 volume over the last 2 seasons. Does Tet probably need to have better than a top 12 season to go in round 1 of startups? Yes. But I think it would be like instant if he had a top 8 rookie season. So, and then you can't really say, maybe we'll argue about Travis Hunter here, but I don't think you can really say that about anyone else. So it's like a pretty high likelihood to me. Looking at it, maybe I'd flip him in London just because I think London is a lot more likely to have the blow up season this year. But yeah,
the bar is way higher on London.
Yeah,
London's
exactly,
got to be like a top 2 or 3 wide receiver. I think Tet can. I think it's Tet needs to do it, but I think really it's Bryce Young. Can Bryce Young look like the Bryce Young of the last month of 2024? Or does he look like the other Bryce Young we've seen? If we see December 2024 Bryce Young all year this year, and Tet comes out, posts that 25% target share, looks efficient, then for sure, then it's liftoff, because then I think you have everything you want. I think it's people. It's a weird scenario where Bryce, even entering his 3rd year, it feels like he could be literally anything, because the difference between how horrible he was to start his career and to start last year versus how strong he finished is really, really wide.
Yeah, it's the same argument with Penix as it is with Bryce Young.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
All right. That's it for everybody that was on all 12 lists. We now have 2 players that were left off one list. 9th comes in Ladd McConkey. Ryan had him all the way up at 4. Did not make Lucas's list at all.
Boo this man.
Too nice to each other.
Yeah, what
today.
the hell?
You guys get in the ring and beat each other up for a bit.
Boo this man. This has got to be some Devi player prior having.
Exactly. This is Devi supremacy.
I know ball.
This is Devi supremacy.
Predict the future, ignoring his already meteoric rise in ADP ass having biased ass opinion. Something Tennessee, something college football. And most importantly, something terrible, ridiculous take that I hope the comments eat you alive for.
This is the Devi, like, I still would rank Marvin Harrison above Brian Thomas. Like, take.
Yeah. Take that, Devi man.
I almost want to let Lucas go first now that you guys have been just shitting down his throat.
All right, I'll make it really simple. And the one thing that took him off my list is his perception as a slot-only wide receiver and how that has held back Amon-Ra St. Brown from absolutely dominating in the top half. I don't think that the best case scenario, Ladd McConkey, is going to be a best case Amon-Ra St. Brown. And I don't think he's going to be in the first round of drafts. Like, I don't think that the Dynasty community can look past what his profile is and the role he plays in this offense and allow them to put him above some of these, bigger, faster, alpha type wide receivers that people are used to having in the first round. So that's why he got left off my board. I don't see that scenario. Even if he has an amazing season, which I don't think will lead to wide receiver 1 overall, but I think he can still have a top 5 season. Potentially, I think he's going to be solidly a wide receiver 1, but I don't think he will be a first round pick next year.
All right, Ryan, let's make the compelling case that he will be held back by reverse racism.
But before Ryan goes... Reverse racism. Oh my God. Before Ryan goes, Amon-Ra St. Brown was a first round pick in ADP last year. This time.
Oh, even better. Sick. But yeah, I was going to say, Lucas, thank you for giving me the easiest straw man argument to just swat down here. Obviously, I've talked all offseason about how the Ladd slot thing isn't real and doesn't matter, but I don't think we're even going to have the debate after the season because guess what? Ladd McConkey's not playing slot this year. Keenan Allen is playing slot for the Chargers this year. Justin with the 1 year
oh my
contract
gosh, y'all are giving me
signed.
this crap about Devi this, Devi that. I'll make one Devi point, and we're bringing up Keenan Allen in the year of 2025 as somebody who's going to be playing
Ryan has a good point.
Ryan has a good Chargers.
No, Ryan has a good point because Keenan, unfortunately, is playing on the Chargers this year for reasons that I can't really comprehend, but he is. And if you employ Keenan Allen, you have to play him in the slot. Like at this point, he ran what, like a 4.74 at the combine? Like, I'm not sure he could break 5 at this point. So like all he can do is like use his veteran savvy to run a few choice routes in the slot. So like Ladd's playing outside, and that probably increases the downside, but it definitely increases the upside. And I think if he succeeds this year, I don't think there's any way you can have the perception that he did it as a slot only when geezer ass Keenan Allen is like waddling his way down the field for 5 yards at a time out of the slot.
You know what? I'm going to go completely the other direction now. Ladd McConkey's not even going to finish as a wide receiver 2 this season because he won't even be able to get reps in the slot with Andre Gadsden there, and he won't get reps on the outside with Keandre Lambert-Smith and Trey Harris dominating the touches.
Oh, there's your Debbie.
So there's the hot take.
There we are.
Ladd McConkey, not even a top 24 wide receiver.
All right.
All right. Well,
I really thought.
Ladd was more efficient outside than Nico Collins and AJ Brown last year. So we'll see how that goes. I'm excited for outside alpha Ladd McConkey.
I don't know if you guys know this, but Ladd McConkey only was a 3-star prospect coming out of high school. Had an 85 rating according to 247, but Keandre Lambert-Smith was a 92. 4-star, and he had a little gem icon as well with an impact dev trait. So, who's to say who's better?
Yeah,
Thomas.
We've seen Lambert play in college football 25. We never saw Ladd McConkey play. We know that he was a stud in college football 25, which is how I, scout my Devy.
Mr. Tom Tipple.
Yeah. Did Keandre Lambert-Smith get alphaed by Brock Bowers at Georgia? I didn't think so.
Who is the offensive coordinator for the Los Angeles Chargers?
His name is Greg Roman.
Do you think he cares about efficiency? No, he does not. He's going to put people in positions that make no sense. He's going to find a way to have 3 tight ends out on the field.
You're right.
There we go.
I have bad news for you. The really small Hollywood Brown had multiple stretches of not only being really good, but being a top 6 wide receiver and primary red zone target for the GOAT Lamar Jackson during Greg Roman's tenure. And not only that, he was also being used when there was 3 tight ends on the field. This man, had he and Lamar Jackson both been able to stay healthy at the same time, would have produced easily a top 10 point per game and total point wide receiver season. Sir, Ladd McConkey, hashtag better than Hollywood Brown, hashtag respect it, hashtag take your Devy stuff home. You didn't think I had that locked and loaded, ready to go. I saw your face. You walked in.
Was Hollywood Brown ever a round 1 startup pick?
No.
There we go. Thank you.
He never even got to achieve the greatness that Ladd McConkey did last year, which was one of the best rookie wide receiver seasons that we had seen. And Hollywood Brown had never and will never have the type of season that Ladd McConkey is about to have this year.
I was giving Ladd McConkey all these props saying that he's going to be really good. I just didn't think he could be in the first round. No, I'm going all the way on the other side. I have to be a Ladd McConkey hater now. There's no other option.
Bet it.
No, I'm not going to do that.
Bet it.
I'm going to be silly. I'm not going to be dumb.
Bet his points per game.
I'm trying to think
or you can if you want the easy way out, you can jump on Jacob's side of the Ladd versus Bowers bet that we currently have.
I already have bet against that little
light
twig.
Don't give the easy way out.
Yeah.
No,
and that bet was already settled on the field for 3 years at the University of Georgia.
I didn't make a single Devy point until y'all were starting to be ridiculous. So, yeah.
All right.
Just remember, I have the power to clip you said him not being in the top 24, and don't.
You know what? Do it. I don't know. It'll be nice to be mentioned in the comments for after this episode. Y'all are getting all kinds of stuff. Ryan is pale and weak. Jacob is having fun out on Tinder apparently, and Thomas has CTE. So it'll be nice. So I'll take it.
And Ladd has a little gray gem with an
Can I make one
AJ Hawk? Yeah, go ahead, Ryan. Have a serious take.
Yeah. One last serious and insightful point about Ladd McConkey is I think in the hypothetical where Ladd came out in like the 20, I don't know, pick a disappointing wide receiver class. If Ladd came out in like the 2023 receiver class or the 2016 class and had the rookie season he just did in a hypothetical universe, I think he's going at the turn right now. I think it's because we compare him to what Nabers just did, what Brian Thomas Jr. just did, that we're not like even more insanely out over our skis and excited for him, because this was the best sophomore wide receiver class in recent memory, or this is like the best group of sophomore receivers that we have going into a season in recent memory. So yeah, I think if
he talk around the real issues with his like analysis, the reason he's not going at the 1-2 turn is because he's a 5'9" white guy whose name is Ladd McConkey. Like, let's just be honest about it. Yeah, that's why.
It is true. Yeah, racism is your last defense against Ladd McConkey going in round one. That is the
he sounds like he's the 17th most important character in The Departed.
I will say this: if Ladd McConkey is a first-round startup pick next year, I think that means that Justin Herbert's probably also a first-round startup pick next year, because he's going to be like that good.
Speaking of, Ladd is a DEI receiver. Speaking of first-round startup picks on the Los Angeles Chargers, the next pick is Omarion Hampton. I had him the highest, up at number 6, but everybody had him on their list except for Tom Tipple, who I think has been pretty pro Hampton throughout much.
Hampton's my number 9.
Really?
Yes.
In that case,
yeah, I guess I have him lowest at 11.
So
yeah.
In that case, he should have been at. That was my mistake. He should have been 9 over Ladd. Then he was on all 4 lists.
Greatest illiterate of all time can read. Jacob today, unable, can't do it.
That's true. All right.
No, I see what happened though. It's because Tom didn't type first names, and if I'm Jacob, I'm scanning for the word Omarion. I'm not scanning for the word Hampton when I'm going through these lists. So I totally see what happened there.
Justifying failure.
Anyway, my bad. But okay, so he should have actually been 9 then. Ladd would have been 10 in this world. So we've rewound back in time where we said that Hampton was on all of our lists. He does come in at 9. I had him the highest at 6. Ryan had him at the lowest at 11. I just think it's as simple as Najee Harris has a glass eye currently. I don't know what's going on with him. He's apparently like walking slowly. That's the current stage of the conditioning we're at with Najee Harris. I don't really understand why he needs to be wearing like several layers of clothing to all of these practices in Los Angeles in the middle of summer. I understand that his eye has issues. I don't get the like multiple hoodies. I have questions. That's all I'm saying. I'm just asking questions. I think that if Pablo Torre was to get on this, we could have serious changes in the Chargers backfield ADP. But either way, I think whether Najee is fine, not fine, whatever, as I've said the whole year, I think by the end of the season, this will clearly be Omarion Hampton's backfield. And I think Najee will probably not be on the team in 2026. And people will get that boost off of whatever Omarion was able to put together on whatever percentage of snaps that he plays. I think, again, we're looking at Bijan and Gibbs going into year 4. I think that's when people start to think, oh, they're not actually that young anymore. These are prime age running backs. It's pretty easy for me to envision a world in which Jeanty and Hampton are the RB1 and 2 in Dynasty coming in next year. I had him above any of the other 2025 rookies. Ryan, why are you more of a Najee Harris supporter?
Yeah, no, I mean, looking at my list now, I probably should have had Hampton over the 27-year-old wide receivers. I probably, that was probably an oversight on my part. For me, though, I do think that it's really hard with the first round of startups, kind of like what we've been talking about with Ladd, because it's not just about, what's like your production as a rookie and your projectable role going into the next year. It's actually about like whether people like you and think you're a sick player. I think there's enough Omarion Hampton haters where he's never going to be a guy that is like blowing up the RYOE or any of the efficiency stats for the people that care about that. He's not going to be like the explosive run rate guy that jumps off the screen and the missed tackles forced or any of that stuff, that I think that is like enough of a thing that people will kind of see him as like, oh, he's like the volume guy, whatever. That's not exciting. He'll go in early round 2, basically, is kind of where I see like his value ceiling. But that I could just be misjudging like the community's view of him. But that's kind of how I think people look at him. Maybe that was more of a pre-draft thing. Maybe people don't think that as much now, but that was why I had him kind of lower than you might expect.
I see. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
No disagreements here.
Hampton's a great pick in every format, though. Ignore everything I just said. If you're drafting a fantasy team, just get Omarion Hampton on it.
Yeah, that's it. All right, let's take a break here, and when we come back, we're going to finish this list off. Do not go anywhere. We still have 5 for 5 to go tonight.
This is Nick B, and I'm reading this ad because I was my fantasy league's biggest loser. So if you want to win your fantasy league and make more money, head to fantasypoints.com to get the edge you need.
Okay, Jacob, let's finish reading the list correctly and finish this list off.
Okay. We got 2 names left. Both these only appeared on 2 of the lists. So the 11th player, very slightly. This player, I believe, he was on, let's see, Ryan and Lucas's list. Oh, both these players were only on Ryan's and Lucas's lists. And that's Nico Collins comes in at 11. And then Jaxon Smith-Njigba comes in at 12. You guys could speak to why you had them on there.
Yeah, I mean, I already said everything about why I'm kind of tempering my expectations, just because Nico will also be 27 this offseason, if I'm not mistaken. I just think he's going to be freaking sick, dude. Like, the Texans are probably going to be forced to throw a lot more this year. Nico is like top of the league in every single per route efficiency stat and all the average separation and literally everything you look at. I think he's sick. Scott has been comparing him to prime Julio Jones for like a year and a half. It feels like we're going to get a Nico blow up season at some point. I don't know that it gets him into round 1 of startups, but it's more like I wanted to show him respect.
Very fair. I had him at 12 for a while. I took him off to make sort of a more fun pick. But like I said, I have him 107 in redraft. I think hard to find someone with a higher rank on him going into the season. I think he's going to be absolutely unreal and contend for the wide receiver 1 overall. Lucas, I'll let you speak to JSN. And this, I assume, is just a bunch of Debbie supremacy.
My gosh. Holy cow. Oh. I don't even know where to go with this anymore.
You just squeaked out of David Bell and Sean Tucker for that last spot.
Oh, gosh. Oh, well, I put Jaxon Smith-Njigba in, very similar to what Ryan was just saying with Nico Collins. I was looking at players that could finish number 1 at their position. And while I think that Jaxon Smith-Njigba has some priors going against him at this point, and I'm very skeptical about the quarterback situation in Seattle, he is the wide receiver 1 there, the unquestioned wide receiver 1 in that offense. We've seen what he can do whenever he's dominating the targets, and he was really, really good at points and times last season. So he snuck in. I think he was my last player potentially. Have to look at it again. No, he was my 10th. Goodness. But I was looking at him as one of the lower down players who I still think can actually finish as number 1 at the position. And a finish like that, I think, could bring him from 3rd round and startups all the way up to the 1st round.
Yeah, for me, he's young enough that if he has the blow up year, then he could certainly go in round 1 of startups. I almost put Marvin Harrison Jr. on my list for the same exact reason. And also as a meme. You think Marv is a better pick than JSN?
If I had done a top 24, JSN would not have made it.
Gotcha. Okay. Yeah, I don't think it's likely that he has the season he needs to. Yeah.
He's never hit 2 yards per route run. Who's going to be playing in an offense that wants to run it about 70 times per game and fired their OC because he didn't run the ball enough. that's quarterback by Sam. I just I haven't drafted him a single time on underdog the whole year. I just don't think he can hurt me. And I think he's going into 2026 with fucking Jalen Milroe as his quarterback.
Yeah, no, all fair.
I think he's as a player, I think he's fine. I think he's gonna have a fine season. I think he's the most ceiling of wide receiver 11, floor of wide receiver 17 player to me.
Since apparently all I'm doing is making Devi takes, I'm going to say this. Jalen Milroe was a better prospect than Anthony Richardson. We just didn't get to see how bad Anthony Richardson was in college because he didn't play that much. I will go down on that hill.
I will say this. I get in a lot of trouble talking shit about JSN. Okay, I'm not a total hater, as I do have the Ohio State, right, signed JSN here. So I just want to.
I thought that was a JSN Browns jersey for a second there.
So just before everyone calls me an obscene hater, I'm not. However, I was the biggest JSN fraud merchant last year. Ryan, you and I talked about this consistently.
Yeah. Another player going in S tier of guys we can never be normal about.
Right. We're talking a guy that if the game was close at the 2-minute and the end of either half, this man was getting 14 points on their final drive if they had the ball. It was inevitable. That's how he was used. That's when he was used. It was 70% of his production came in the second and fourth quarter and when they're behind. That's just the type of player he is. And now you have another player who can also sort of run in that role with, let's be honest, a less than stellar quarterback. So he needs to have an absolute god tier run out on top of everything that Jacob just said. That's the reason I left him off. The reason I could see a case for him is his fan base is powerful. He's one of those players that, like
That's
Ryan
true.
just said, we cannot talk about him rationally because he's just that screenshot of that one college game. Look what he did, bro. He's elite. That's the conversation we have with him. So that's why I left him off my list. But that's also the case why I can see him being up there. But I'm with Jacob on this one. Him and I usually disagree on wide receiver archetypes not mattering as much. JSN doesn't get the Amon-Ra St. Brown vault to me because the offense is just so
He's never
much
been as
worse.
good as Amon-Ra St. Brown. I mean,
That
let's just be
too.
honest.
I'm just saying in
Amon-Ra St.
terms of-
Brown rocks.
I know it in terms of growth and
Yeah.
where he can go, he would need that Seattle offense to pass at the insane efficiency that the Lions do for Amon-Ra.
All right. We'll do a quick break. Then we're going to run through our honorable mentions. They made just one list. Anyone other names what people want to throw out, and then we're going to play 5 for 5.
That's right.
All right. There were 5 names that made one list, unless I miscounted again, in which case someone can give me another name. I had one player that I think will be not surprising. That's the only one put on my list. At number 11, I had Mr. Travis Hunter. Do I think he's going to be in round 1 of startups next year? No. But I do think if we were in the spirit of the exercise and trying to take out, the whole range of outcomes and just focusing on whose upper 10% of their outcome is the fattest, I do think Travis Hunter is one of the best football players literally ever. And if he does happen to see 80 to 85% of the snaps on offense somehow, he's going to, in my opinion, be quite a dominant rookie player. And maybe once we've seen it in action, however it sorts out, if it sorts out in a way that's favorable to him, all of the FUD and the worries about the defense starts to fade away. Probably not. Probably people will just be saying, well, he's going to, have a career-ending injury at 25. But I put him on my list.
Yeah.
The last player on my list was LaNorris Sellers, quarterback, South Carolina. I have no idea if this guy's even going to go in round 1. If you play CFB 26, you should definitely be familiar with LaNorris Sellers. If you happen to be in an online dynasty that says you can only take 3-star programs, your first pick should be the South Carolina Gamecocks. He is an incredibly fun dude to play with in video games. He's also seems to be a very fun guy to play real life games with. I'll just say the strongest quarterback I've maybe ever seen. Like the amount of reps in which dudes just break unblocked into him, and he just kind of like shoves them off and just kind of runs around. Unbelievable. Do I think he can read a field? No. Do I have any idea if you see that you get a top quarterback? No clue. But he's really cool. And if he happens to get drafted in the top 5, it's hard for me not to imagine a world of which dynasty managers dream, especially if you went somewhere fun like the Los Angeles Rams. Who did you guys have that we haven't yet talked about?
So I did put LaNorris Sellers on my list of potential college players who might be in round 1 next year. I did put him as number 2 just because we're going to have a player, assuming he's healthy this entire season, who has way more film than Anthony Richardson ever had. He's bigger than Jalen Milroe is. He appears to be more accurate and has an even more live arm than Milroe. I think that there is a world where we're looking at it, and wherever we're playing Superflex, Dynasty, wherever you have a quarterback who can run like Sellers can, people are going to be pricing him insanely high, similar to what we saw with Anthony Richardson's rookie season. But I think that in a perfect scenario, he would be somebody who is very easily up there. He'd be surpassing some of these other mobile but not pure running threats like what he is.
Ryan?
I actually don't think I had anybody ranked in my top 12 that we didn't already talk about. So I just had the chalkiest rankings.
You're a boring man of consensus. I had Sellers and Hunter.
I have one.
You had two.
So there's
Lucas had.
I have one.
Lucas had Henderson.
Yep.
Yeah. And Tom, you had 2, didn't you? Did you have McBride and?
I have one that was actually on my list, and I have 2 side ones that didn't make my list at all that I just wanted to mention as a possibility. So mainly it's Trey McBride, because we do everything Superflex tight end premium. Brock Bowers, tight end 1. I'm going to say Trey McBride, tight end 1B. Similar enough production, still at an amazing elite age to give you an absolute advantage, and Kyler Murray can't not throw to this man. Couple touchdowns for Trey McBride last year, and this man is probably going at the 1-2 turn now. Let's be honest about that. His touchdown inefficiency was insane last year. Had he had the same targets, receptions, yards, etc., and some of those wound up in the end zone, let's say he gets 5, 6. We're talking about somebody who absolutely breaks fantasy more than Brock Bowers, if I'm not mistaken. So definitely a player you could see at the 1-2 turn. So he, in my opinion, definitely should have made that list, especially in my opinion, over someone like JSN easily. Because if Trey McBride does that again, he's outscoring JSN again.
He's outscoring JSN without tight end premium.
That's what I'm saying. He's going to outscore him again in a premium position. So that's why. And then the 2 other ones, just a little side note, a little bit of fun. I think Bo Nix has a chance. He's someone going in the 2nd round now. If he comes out again and plays extremely well, he was insane down the stretch with an injured back, a very badly injured back, absolutely balled out, showed out. I think year 2, Bo Nix is either going to fail miserably, or he is going to get that boost, and he could potentially be one of those Konami-style 500-yard rushing quarterbacks. I think there's a world he outscores Drake Maye next year. It's definitely possible. And if he does, right, we're going to see that same kind of hype go for him, even though he's a little bit older, but age doesn't matter as much. And then JJ McCarthy has the opportunity to do something insane, which is, as a first-year starting quarterback in his 2nd year, come out and throw 4,300 yards and 30 touchdowns on an insane offense and be immediately vaulted into round 1 status. That's more of my fun long shot one, but I thought he probably deserved an honorable mention, not just because we're fantasy points, not just because I was JJ McCarthy over Drake Maye last year, just that I think he actually has the opportunity to do that. Hell, if he rushes 3 touchdowns in, it's going to be all bets are off and all pants are off over at the Fantasy Points War Room. So
I'd be willing to bet
I almost hope that
one
doesn't happen, because then I feel like if we get round 1 startup JJ McCarthy, I feel like we might have to heel turn on him pretty hard. Like I don't know. I would not feel very good about that.
That would make me terribly sad.
We're gonna have to turn it around for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's really fun.
But I agree. I think we have a good chance. I bet one of Maye and Williams ends up in the top 12, and I think there's at least a half a chance that one of Nick's, McCarthy, and Penix winds up in round 1 as well. I will note also, earlier I couldn't read. This time Tom couldn't read. He had Amon-Ra St. Brown in his top 12 too. He just didn't mention it.
Oh yeah, you're absolutely right. I did have
Tom didn't say it because he knows that Jamo is taking over and he's gonna have Tari Amon-Ra St. Brown this year.
Speaking of players we can't mention on this program,
I'll get fired. Ryan, you can't do that because I'll get fired.
Did you not see what Ben Johnson, John Morton was saying about Jameson Williams this summer?
Yeah, Ryan took beat or no beat into an unsafe area.
Yeah,
he didn't leave it to the expert.
I can't talk about.
Also, Jameson, I think all my Kyle Pitts AI beat reports just came true. Like it was like a week after we did beat or no beat, all of those became real beat reports about Kyle Pitts.
Yeah, he's playing golf, man.
I can't. This Jameson Williams is going to be a wide receiver 1 on like 110 target stuff. I can't do. Can't see it. This is a guy that really matured last year and got suspended for 3 games. I can't. They tried the Jameson Williams lead part of the offense thing for like 3 games and they went, oh, this doesn't work. I don't know. I can't. Amon-Ra's dope. I can't do it. I can't talk about it. We need to move on. Can we go to 5 for 5? Let's go to 5 for 5. Everyone want to go to 5 for 5? Let's go to 5 for 5 before I have a absolute meltdown here on this podcast and get fired. Let's do 5 for 5. Podcast listeners, you get 5 for 5 today. Okay, because I'm not here next week. You guys get 5 for 5 today. Sit tight. Don't go anywhere. Okay, so as you can see, the image has been updated. We have the back-to-back 5 for 5 champion because no one can catch me. I won the last time we were here. The Crash Out King still sitting at 2. Man of the People still sneaking in at 2.5. And the Gremlins coming up empty here again with 2. Yes, I did put my gear back on to make sure I took this photo to update it. But here we are. We are at 5 for 5. Close the chats. I'm closing. I'm minimizing. It's not on the
win this time, do I actually get my own graphic instead of just being a 0.5 on Lucas's face?
If you win this time, you will get your own. I will find a way to put you on there somewhere because this is the second time you are playing.
Yeah, if I win this, I would have won as many times in 3 attempts as Ryan and Lucas have won this entire year.
Yeah, that's a little sad, but yeah.
All right, Lucas, you're hosting this bad boy. Give us the theme.
Oh man, so I'm not going to tell you all the theme right off the bat.
Oh,
okay.
The theme.
But the theme will definitely be evident as we're going throughout this.
The theme will reveal itself.
Yes. Oh my goodness. Jacob, do you want to tell the people the rules?
Sure. All right. Well, I assume that they're the same rules as when I typically host this program. There's going to be 5 players. There's going to be 5 clues for each player. The answers are we each get a chance to guess after each clue. The earlier you guess, the more points you get. The chat gets to play. If we get it on the same round that the chat gets it, we get the tiebreaker point. The chat gets up to 3 guesses per round and up to 1 guess per round per person.
All right, and if I'm not mistaken, if the chat gets it, I don't tell you all in order to get you to guess.
I've
you can if you want.
No telling rule, but I'll leave it up to you. But I like the
good rule, I must say.
I like the no telling.
Okay, then it'll be no telling. All right, so here we go. Player number 1. I gotta pull up my sheet here. All right, player number 1. This player threw 4, ran 4, and caught a touchdown in the same season in college.
In college.
He doesn't want to get called Devi Boy anymore.
I'd pass.
Terrell Pryor.
No, that's a really
Nice.
good guess, Jacob. I like that, but no.
Me and Tom passed.
All right.
All right.
I'm going to move on because the chat is just throwing out names willy-nilly now. So, number 2. This player competed in track and field in college and posted a 13:55 time in the 110-meter hurdles.
Jerick McKinnon.
No,
Another good guess.
that was another good guess.
110-meter hurdles. I'm repeating the track and field event as if that's actually going to help me, as if that's actually going to be anywhere in my mind. Yeah, I have no clue.
Nope.
Keep it moving.
All right, I'm moving on to the next one, but the chat's already played themselves. So, here we go. Question 3. This player was the first person at his school to win the Heisman and became their all-time highest draft pick.
Became their all-time highest draft pick.
All right, I'm going to start the countdown from 10
Well,
here.
they get to guess. They get to guess before I do, because I guess.
Yeah, I have no clue. Pass. Whatever. I surrender.
Catch and receive. Heisman Trophy winner?
Yes.
Heisman Trophy winner.
Robert Griffin III.
Yes, it's Robert Griffin III. Chat,
Wow.
you used too many guesses on the second clue and pushed your RG3 guess down to clue number 3. So you should really be careful when you're guessing not to do more than 3 guesses.
Highest ever draft pick. Should have been the number 1 pick that year.
Yep. And then the next clue would have been made history by recording a perfect passer rating in his first career NFL game.
And a
I'd have got that
40-32
one.
win over the New Orleans Saints, I believe.
So that's why I made that one clue 4. I thought that one would definitely sell it if clue 3 didn't get you there. So no, Jason, no, not each person in the chat should get 1 guess per round. No, not whenever there's that many of you all in here, and not whenever the threat of Google looms over all of us.
The chat
infinite hive mind
forgets-
of the chat each gets their own individual guess per round. Nice. Yeah, that sounds
The chat
really
continues
fair,
to
guys.
fail to understand that they are invited here to serve at the pleasure of the podcast hosts. They get to play as long as we say they can play. They don't have rights.
So, love that they're being in this.
I almost went Cam Newton, but
Yeah. No, that was a
But-
great one.
I don't think he caught.
Yeah, I
Jacob
don't think
taking
he
a
did either.
Hobbesian view of the chat's rights here, that they only exist at the pleasure of the structure around them,
It's true.
Oh,
the
gosh.
government structure.
You know what? Without us, the life of the chat would be solitary, poor, nasty, brutish, and short.
Love it.
They
Love
need
it.
a Leviathan.
All right, moving on. Player number 2 here. Here we go. So this player played 9 seasons in the NFL.
How's this gonna? What did he play?
I'm not
5?
going to waste all my guesses and get locked out again.
But he
Yeah,
played.
I have no clue. Pass.
Well, the next clue isn't even a college clue. Clue number 2. This player played AAU basketball with Blake Griffin.
That's a pretty fun trivia.
Yeah, whenever I saw that, it was pretty awesome.
I feel like this is a player where they talked about this like at nauseum, every broadcast.
If it were Josh Dobbs, we would say, and this person's an aerospace engineer.
Yeah, Antonio Gates played.
Yeah, and Chris Hogan played lacrosse. Is no
I
one
don't
going
know.
to guess?
Was it Jimmy
All right.
Graham?
Yeah.
No, it is not Jimmy Graham.
I guess like the obvious guys.
You guessed that as soon
yeah.
as the chat guessed that.
Yeah.
So,
figured. I was under no illusions that was an original thought.
I figured I would just let someone else use that one instead.
Yeah.
All right. Moving on to clue number 3. This player was traded for a draft pick that eventually became Derek Barnett.
Ooh.
Oh, that's tough.
Mm-hmm.
Lock in, Jacob. Lock in. Is it Nick Foles?
No, it is not Nick Foles. And the chat literally just put that in as a guess. It's funny how this is syncing up here.
Became Derek Barnett.
That's got. It's Sam Bradford.
It is indeed Sam Bradford.
Yep.
Oh, I was on the wrong fucking side of the
You were
trade.
so close.
Yes,
yeah.
you
Oh,
were.
right, because they traded him the next year to the Vikings. Yeah,
Mhm.
after the Bradford one didn't work out.
So now Thomas is at 6. The next clue is going to be only ever completed a full season twice, and won the Heisman was a first overall pick.
Yeah. Jacob, help me out.
So I haven't said what the category is, but I hope you all are catching on.
Right, they gave Foles and a first for Bradford, but then they traded Bradford to the fucking Vikings when Bridgewater got hurt. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And being able to link it back to Tennessee, I was pretty proud of that one. All right.
Tom's at what? Is that 7 for Tom now?
6.
6.
Tom is at 6, and we have zeros across the board.
All right.
So moving on to player number 3. This player had 149 receiving yards in a college rivalry game while setting a school record.
Ryan is looking at Lucas with just a face of utter displeasure.
You know whatever you all do sounds like or rhymes with. That's how I feel
chat
all
right now.
the time.
I want chat to be aware that I rolled into the pre-show and I was like, Lucas, you are not gonna fuck me tonight, right? This is not just gonna be every question and hint about shit that these players did in college, right? And he's like, no, don't worry about it. I got you. Like it's all about NFL
if it
stuff.
helps,
Don't
this
even
is like
sweat
so
it, Ryan.
unbelievably obscure that like none of us are getting it either.
Mm-hmm. All right,
I can't believe I believed you. I can't believe I gave you the benefit of the doubt.
I'm moving on.
Sell for it again award.
I'm moving on.
Sell for it again award.
I'm moving on.
I did.
Question number 2.
What was the
This
first
player.
one?
He had a lot of yards.
So he had 149 receiving yards in a college rivalry game while setting a school record.
All right, one of 6,000 receivers.
Yes.
I got it.
He was a 3rd-round pick in 2008 after declaring early.
Okay.
2008?
Yes.
This is going to be something stupid. Look at the smile on his face. I know it's
I have a
something
guess, but it's. I have a guess, but I don't think it's good enough to go with.
I love NFL head coach. What is that? I think that's NFL head coach 08. Oh, sorry. No, that was 09. NFL head coach 09. It was a wonderful game. Oh, I spent so much time on it.
I don't think my guess is good enough to get locked out of the 3rd clue.
All right. I think that this is going to be a mad dash on this clue. So we'll see.
Boy.
All right. Clue number 3. This player had 159 receiving yards in his first NFL playoff game, all in the 4th quarter and overtime.
Sean Jackson.
No. That's a really good guess, though.
It's supposed to be a mad dash on this.
Yeah, I have no clue.
Okay.
That one didn't.
I don't know.
help
I
me
thought
at
it
all.
was so obscure.
Don't move on yet. I'm trying to think.
I'm not going to know anything about a playoff game that probably happened like in 2011 at the latest.
You know what? I'm going to be strategic. Well, maybe the chat's going to get it though.
I think
Nope, chat's already through their guesses here.
Okay, in that case, I'm going to be strategic. I get the guess in front of Tom. I don't fucking trust Ryan to get shit, so I'll take it to the next clue.
Macho Man Zandy, I really did like your guess, and that player almost made it into 5 for 5. We'll address that later. Okay. Clue number 4, and yes, I'll recap these clues so far. So this player had 149 receiving yards in a college rivalry game while setting a school record, was a third-round pick in 2008 after declaring early, had 159 receiving yards in his first NFL playoff game, all in the fourth quarter and overtime. And question number 4, missed the Super Bowl, but still won a ring for the 2010-2011 season.
Okay, so that was...
Missed the Super Bowl, but still got a ring?
Okay. So, all right.
I'm really confused, man.
I'm just trying to make sure I get the right fucking guy.
I know who it is.
Okay, is it Hakeem Nicks?
It is not Hakeem Nicks.
Can I answer?
Yes. Yes, you can answer.
It's the other Giants receiver. It's Mario Manningham.
No, it's not Mario Manningham.
What?
Nope.
I don't know. Chat should have got it by now. I'm just sitting here in the cuck chair, watching and
the chat
watching you guys
does
have a great
have
time.
It. The chat does have it. I'm going to let you all guess, but you can't get the points for it. Clue number 5, a spinal cord injury ended his career, but this tight end would go back an honors degree from the University of Texas.
Is it Shockey? Who's the tight end?
Is Mr. Jermichael Finley, the tight end for the Packers.
I thought the Giants...
He had 159 yards in a playoff game?
Yeah, all in the fourth quarter and overtime. Absolutely absurd.
I thought for sure it was a wide receiver.
So now, going back over the points, we have Thomas at 6, Chat at 2
Good
for
job.
Jermichael Finley. Going to get on the fourth clue. Yeah.
Jermichael Finley, man.
Absolute beast there for a second. Moving on to player number 4.
After Jacob said a Giants receiver.
Question number 4. This player has been the subject of a recent Netflix documentary.
Aaron Hernandez.
That was literally the guess I was going to make.
Yeah.
That was the guess I was going to have.
No, hold on. You said this player?
Yes.
Okay, so you didn't give a position.
Not for tonight, but remind me at some point, guys, to explain the Aaron Hernandez rule in my home league.
Oh no.
Oh, God.
Not for tonight. Story for another time.
Wait, so that doesn't count? You're not counting that as Tom's guess? I was actually going to guess that.
It was clearly joking.
Oh my God.
I don't know.
Wait,
Jared Goff.
Did you say that it was a Netflix documentary this year or just generally?
Just said recently.
Recent. Okay.
All right. Moving on to
Jared Goff
number
wrong?
2.
I guess Jared Goff.
Yes, Jared Goff's wrong.
Okay.
Question number 2. This player shares his name with an animated children's show character.
An anime children's show character. I hope I get to make fun of Lucas for being into cringe anime children's shows after this.
Man, I suck.
Yeah, I have no clue.
I'm not guessing anything.
Clue number 3. This player caught his first touchdown from Brett Favre.
Is this Devontae Adams?
No.
Oh, I thought you were going to be right about that. With documentary. Okay.
Chat just said, can't think of any football players named SpongeBob.
SpongeBob is my favorite anime.
Here's his name with a
Right next to Corey in the house.
I have no idea if there's a here's the name of the fucking what could these I don't know. I have a few guesses, but I'm not gonna.
All right,
no clue.
Moving on to clue number 4. This player holds the NFL record for the longest non-scoring play.
Sterling Sharp?
No. He almost made this list based off my category.
No clue.
Ooh. I'll also say that it was 104 yards.
Wait, what? Oh, okay. Oh, not that's gonna matter. I'm not gonna get to guess anyway.
Can by Brett Favre,
Yes.
a 104-yard play has to be a kick return.
5.
Vikings, Brett Favre is Percy
3.
Harvin.
It is Percy Harvin, indeed.
Yeah.
The next clue was going to be had his career cut short by chronic migraines.
Did win a
Who's
Super
named
Bowl.
Percy, by the way? Oh, Percy and the Lightning Thief?
Yeah.
No, I was thinking Percy
Like
from
Thomas the
Tank
Train.
Engine.
Yeah. Thomas the Tank Engine's friend. I love that.
Yeah.
I got called Thomas the Tank Engine for years.
And he was, I believe, part of Swamp Kings, if I'm not mistaken. And yes, he did get Minnesota Brett Favre to throw him his first touchdown pass. So now we are at Thomas at 8, Chat at 2,
for double points.
And now for double points, meaning
Can't wait for the first clue to be this guy had 112 yards one time versus Nebraska.
Oh, that would be
He's laughing because it's gonna be. It's literally gonna be. He's evil laughing right now.
My
He's trying
sounds
to play
like
it
stuff
off.
is guessable on clue 1 and clue 2. People
Oh
guess
my
them.
gosh, the sounds like drives me insane.
Yeah,
So this is
people
my
get them.
revenge for that. All right, moving on. Player number 5 here. This player was the first player at his position drafted in his draft class.
I mean,
Ezekiel Elliott.
that applies.
He was the only player
11 players
drafted
per draft class.
at his position.
No, was the first player at his position drafted for his
that
draft
applies
class.
to about 12 players per year.
I wanted to make this much tougher because I was tired of people always getting it on the first and second clue. So I wanted to be a little messed up here.
He's a glutton for torture. That's what he is. He just likes to.
Dude, I went
Well,
through.
I guess we got to
I
guess
went
on
through.
clue 2.
I went through basically 6 years of nuclear engineering school. Yes, I do like to hurt myself. So moving along, question number 2.
I am the moron of this podcast.
This player holds the record at his school for rushing yards in a game and most all-purpose yards in the season.
Oh God! All right.
1 of 6 billion. Got it.
Well, I guess we've got to fucking guess here. Rushing yards in a game and all-purpose yards in a season. First.
Adrian Peterson.
No, but that's a good guess.
I still have no idea what this category is, which is probably
Yeah,
why
I also
keep
don't know what the
staying on 0
category
points.
actually is.
So I will. I don't know. Ronnie Brown.
No, he just about made this. He was going to be number 5 until I thought of this
I
player.
wish he was. I really wish he was.
All right. Clue number 3. This player ran a 4.35 second 40-yard dash and was the fastest among running backs at the combine.
Your guess, Tom.
You could also ruin this for the chat from being able to win.
Yeah, I'll let Tom guess first.
Repeat the first question.
First question was the first player at his position drafted in his draft class. We now know he was a running back. He holds the record at school for rushing yards in a game and most all-purpose yards on a season. And he ran a 4.35 second 40, which was the fastest among running backs in his draft class.
Oh, you've gone back.
I cannot hear you anymore, Thomas.
Shit.
Impeccable timing. That was perfect, actually.
All right, in the chat, cannot win.
All right. Who are you going to guess, Tom?
Okay, the chat can't win anyway?
Correct.
Yeah.
Christian McCaffrey is the first one that came to mind.
It is not Christian McCaffrey.
Wasn't even, yeah.
Okay, and the second one is Reggie Bush.
Definitely not Reggie Bush. So now moving on.
I'll make a. Wait, Ryan and I didn't guess. Not the
Kitty guesses. Let's go.
Okay, this was just because he's the funniest player that I can think of that was first at his draft class in a given year. I'll guess Bishop Sankey.
No. Oh, he was this close, man.
Oh, that's good.
Was it? I don't even remember this draft class, so I may be like way off. But I'm just thinking of guys that like ran fast or whatever. Was it Jonathan Stewart?
No, it was not.
Okay.
So this player was the first former NFLer to compete at the Summer Olympics in 2016. Also, chat, stop crying. You all haven't even been close to the right guess here. Just way down there. I am not in my parents' basement. I am in my own basement, dadgummit, because I'm not going to wake my wife up whenever I'm screaming about Ladd McConkey at almost midnight here.
So it must have been someone in like a really bad running back draft class, like 2014 through 16.
The chat just got it. Doesn't really matter because they can't win, but
Bishop Sankey would have been really funny.
No,
I feel like that was correct in spirit.
It's gonna be like a dynasty favorite.
Oh, this guy. Oh.
Was it
Jones? I guess Felix Jones.
No, but I do like that.
More recent than that. It's going to be something stupid like Javad Best.
It is absolutely Javad Best.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Yes. The category this time was players whose careers were cut too short by injuries. We have Robert Griffin III with his ACL and his chronic knee injuries. Sam Bradford, baby. Sam Bradford with his long series of injuries. Jermichael Finley with his spinal cord injury. Percy Harvin with his chronic migraines. And Javad Best due to chronic concussions in 2013.
That dude had swag, man.
Mm-hmm.
Shitty number.
Yeah. He was
terrible number. Awful number.
What did he wear? 40 something?
It was like 44 or like something stupid like that. 40 or 44. I'm gonna look
that guy.
I'm gonna pull chat up.
That guy.
Did he go to Cal, Lucas?
He did. He did go to Cal.
Where did he?
That's the thing. Like, at least when I do college clues, I give you like he went to this college. Lucas is like, one time in a game against someone, he had a lot of yards.
Yeah, in a rivalry game.
Well, I wanted it to be difficult. I am going to learn from your all's comments, but you all were able to get every single player except for one. I was disappointed with Jermichael Finley. I thought that the 159 yards in fourth quarter and overtime would have gotten you there.
Madden legend, Jermichael Finley, by the way. He was like 87 overall at one point. Ryan 0008 says Percy was a clue on New York Times mini crossword today.
Oh, very cool.
Wow. So that's cool. Well, I'll say this as your victor. Once again, I may be the dumbest in IQ on this program, but boy, my autism pushes the scale of insanity compared to everybody else on this program. It's a fun year. Better luck next year, chumps, when I'm running this every year and giving you obscure fullback guesses. Might get some centers in there. You never know with me. and I look forward to hosting next year. No idea what we're doing next week because I'm not here. So I expect a mock draft, which used to be the running bit for Jacob and Billy back in the day whenever I wasn't here. I do not miss many shows, but I do miss next week as I am on a bit of a vacation a little bit for the first time in a long time. This might only be like my second show missed since being at Fantasy Points. So shout out to Lucas for hosting and everyone else for just kind of showing up for me to compete against.
The chat is rebelling against me. They want you back, Jacob.
Good.
Were they close on the guesses? Like,
no, not really. It was kind of sad. Like not to be like mean to them, but yeah, after all the crap that I was getting from them at points and times throughout this year, I'm going to be a little mean to them.
Jacob,
and I will also just point out,
it's good for the chat to know how good they have it.
I try to make it to where the chat can't just Google things. All right, that is my
That's
goal.
why I
is
do
to
the
make
sounds
it
like
ungoogleable.
shit, because they're
well, the
ungoogleable
sounds like
clues.
stuff doesn't work in my brain. Words don't sound right in my brain. I need numbers and structure, and not it sounds like these things because I might say them differently. But you know, it is what it is.
And I'm the one that has a hard time reading and writing. Got it. That being said, that's the program today. Again, as like when we come back, football has been played. And we can talk about real football things moving forward. So on the final 5 for 5 that I know of, and the final week of just irrelevant football being from the previous week, we have real things to talk about moving forward. I want to say thanks to everyone who listened all off season. I want to shout out everyone that joined us this year in the off season. I want to thank my 3 co-hosts for showing up and sometimes having an absolute slog of a day of topics, because the one thing that drives me consistently crazy is the Dynasty content machine. Even though I'm a part of it, I do my best every week, and all of us do, to try to plan something that isn't just consistently talked about and beaten to death on every show, every single week, the same 6 players, the same 4 theories, recycled over and over and over again. And I wouldn't do that if you guys didn't demand higher quality content, even if I'm being accused of dragging it down. But in all seriousness, leaving comments is the best way that you can help us. So please hop on the comment section as soon as the show goes off air on YouTube. When this comes out on Spotify, leave a comment. Let us know. I see them, I read them, and I relay it to the guys. Once again, thank you to everybody who listens, watches, downloads, subscribes. Without you, there's no show. Let's get ready for the season. Let's get ready for a great season that is inevitably going to end in Lamar Jackson's somehow completely baffling loss in the playoffs for me to cry myself to sleep once again. For Jacob, for Ryan, for Lucas, and all my dreams of getting to sleep early tonight, remember that clear eyes and full hearts cannot lose, and your best days are always spent tilting about not standing a chance in 5 for 5. We'll see you guys next time.
What?
Why are you shaking your head? You're welcome.